Whoa!
Hello everyone, this is Abby Yo-Yo with a 100% walkthrough slash achievement slash trophy guide for Dark Souls 3. Now this walkthrough is going to be aimed at people like me who are anything but pro gamers. This is designed to get you all of the achievements for this daunting game the easiest way I think to be possible, meaning it's not going to take any glitches or tricks or speedrun tips that only a pro gamer would use. This is for more of the layman who still enjoys doing some achievement hunting, but never thinks they're quite good enough. Well, I'm here to tell you that you are. If I can get all the achievements in this game, then so can you. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start it up. If you've never played any of the Dark Souls series before, it is very difficult for new players, but I'm here to walk you through it. First thing I do is I go into my system, and I scroll over and scroll launch settings down to play offline. This makes things easier so that you don't get invaded by other players that tend to be a lot better than me and slow me down. Now it's going to cause things to be longer when we farm for certain materials, but I find the trade-off to be worth it. It lowers the frustration. So, we'll start a new game. Set up all our settings.
Yes, indeed.
And I welcome you to watch the first cutscene. I'm going to skip it though. And create my first character. Now, again, I'm going to show you what I think is the easiest way to play. If you've never played this before, I would suggest you try to get through it once on your own, and then come back to this video once you do to clean up the rest of the achievements. Because there's so many different ways you can play this game. You can play as a knight, or more dexterous mercenaries, thieves, assassins. But I find the easiest way to play is with the pyromancer. They really bumped it up in Dark Souls 3 with pyromancy. And you can pick a burial gift. If you're, again, new to the game, Life Ring is a great bet, because it increases your max health, and it actually goes towards one of the achievements. Fire Gem is also a good bet, because you can upgrade one of your weapons to be a fire weapon early on. But you get a Fire Gem actually quite early in the game. So really, none of these I think are very good. Young White Branch is another option, because it saves you some trouble on an early part in the game. But I like the Sovereignless Souls. It's worth, I think, 2,000 souls, which is your experience, and so you basically get a couple of free levels right out the gate. And we're ready to go. Now in the description for each of these videos I'm going to include a Word document and a Google document and a Google Sheets that I'm using as a sort of walkthrough and checklist for all the collectibles. So I welcome you to use those as especially the checklist. It's very helpful. But you start the game in the Cemetery of Ash. So the first thing we want to do, that I'm going to do, is switch my Pyromancy Flame, that's the catalyst used for your spells, over to this slot right here. I like to always have my shield out. Some people like to have their weapon in their left hand and the Pyromancy Flame in their right hand, and then they just dodge around. But again, I'm an amateur, so I like to use my shield more than rolling around. It's much easier, I think, in the long run, rather than having to learn the timing of every single enemy in the game. And I also want to unequip the Soul of the Nameless Soldier, because we're going to use that straight from our inventory. Alright, let's get started. We've got the tutorial on these written messages here. If you don't know what the buttons are, then I suggest you use this. I'm playing on Xbox, by the way, so all the button commands will be tailored towards that. We have our first enemy here that you can lock on to. I always like to just have the shield up just in case. I always like to step around kind of to the right of any enemy. With him dead, we actually have our first item down this ravine. Of a soul of a desecrated corpse. By the way, you can hold B to run. RB is light attack. RT, so right bumper, light attack, right trigger is heavy attack. You hold left bumper to guard, and you can push left bumper to do a parry. You can click the right stick to lock on. You can hit B to dodge. And with this item we get our Ashen Estus Flask. So in this particular Dark Souls, not only do we have HP, but we have FP, which is going to be used to cast our spells. So we want to make sure we have our Ashen Estus Flask, which automatically gets equipped. And you can hit down on the D-pad to switch between these two. And you can hit right on the D-pad to switch between our axe and our Pyromancy Flame. Next, let's come around and we learn how to backstab. You sneak up behind the gentleman and hit light attack. You can come down this way. The guy's going to get up on your left. Make sure you kill him and quickly guard so you don't get snuck up on. Come over and take out this crossbow wielder. So also something about this is I'm going to be using the weapons that you can get from vendors or find on the corpses around the game here. There are some weapons that are better that you can find off of enemies, but I'm going to assume that you haven't gotten any of those and simply use things you can get otherwise. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down, we're going to cross the path. The main path that we want to take is up the stairs where the crossbow wielder was. But we want to come down to this ravine where the water slows us down, where we get our first difficult enemy, a giant crystal lizard, which is right there. So since he's difficult, we're going to want to use our Pyromancy Flame for this. Make sure you're keeping an eye on the fact that there's some casting time, so make sure you're aware of that. But this guy's not too difficult. You can just stick around. He'll bite. Let's heal up a little bit. He's got a 4-hit combo there. He can breathe ice. Not really ice, it's crystal, but the point is it does magic damage. And when he looks up at the sky like that, he's going to slam down his belly, and it creates a very small AoE. So you want to be careful of that. So that right there. Don't get too close to him. When you see him rear back, you want to dodge immediately, of any kind, when he kind of juts out to the left there. Breathe fire when he kind of jiggles like that. When you see him step to one side, he's gonna swipe at you. And when he rears up like that, he's gonna roll. He'll also jump at you and causes a small AoE, just dodge out of the way. two-hit combo. If you run out of FP, you can't cast anymore, so you have to switch to the Ashen Estus Flask and use that. Even if you hit with every single fireball you can use, you should not do enough damage to kill him. So you're going to have to finish him off with the axe. That's close. Sometimes he'll get stunned and you can get a free attack in there. I'm out of mana, so, or FP, excuse me. So let's finish him off with the axe. And you get a Titanite Scale, which is used to upgrade special weapons. Come over to the gravestones here for another soul. Those, by the way, can be used in your inventory to get free souls. And they're nice to keep with you and not use them unless you need them. Because in this game, if you die, you lose all your souls until you make it back to the area in which you died. But all the souls that are in my inventory, they do not get lost. So it's kind of like a bank for your experience. With that, we come into here, take on the gorgeous view, come up to the left, and we have our first bonfire. Light that, and resting at the bonfire does multiple things. It refills your health and your FP. It refills your Estus and your Ashen Estus. In this case, it gets you an achievement, if this is the first time playing. And it resets all of the enemies in the whole game, outside of bosses and some special mini-bosses. Like, I believe the Crystal Lizard does not respawn. And in this one, when you rest at it, you get your first gesture. Can't do anything at this particular bonfire, so just leave. And you can use gestures by hitting the back button, or the select button for you old school gamers. And here's all my gestures that you start with, and you can hit Y to switch them out. Then you can even use one. That's if you're playing online, most likely. Hit any button to get back up. And we're gonna need to get every gesture in the game for one of the more difficult achievements. I don't want to say difficult, just time consuming. So, come down past the bonfire and a hollow will start to approach you. Go slowly because there's two on your right. These take 2 hits. Then you want to come down and you can kind of slowly approach because they're going to get up. But if you're lucky, you can get one without the other. One thing you'll learn about this game is that every enemy can be easily handled one-on-one, but every enemy is also extremely difficult in any number of groups. So you almost never want to take on people more than one. More than one person. Also notice if you can, this is why I like to kind of walk around to the left, or excuse me, to the right as I lock on, strafe. I like to strafe, because you can get to the back of certain enemies as they attack you and pull off a critical attack. Okay, so with them gone, that just kind of clears up the space because we're going to do a little bit of backtracking here in a second. Come back up to this area where we killed the first hollow. And if you go up to this big rock and look down, you can barely see there's a slight glow on top of that coffin, stone coffin. And so this is where we're going to learn about jumping. To jump, you start sprinting, and as you're sprinting, you click the left stick, and you can jump. And you can click the left stick as you're pushing it forward. So what we're going to want to do is jump right about here, right off this rock in the middle, to the left of the large rock. So get a good running start, and click. And if successful, you'll land right on top of the casket, and pick up a Titanite shard, which is used to upgrade normal weapons. So come back down and you get a message that teaches you about plunging attacks, which is just a light attack while falling, and you can pull it off on the guy right in front of you to do massive damage. So you got a hollow right in front of you with a crossbow. And before we go to what is the first boss, you can turn around for another little ledge to the left, where you can drop down on another hollow, but be careful of the one directly in front of them. This is a spear wielder, which you can wait to attack to get in some spots. If he's just walking around with his shield up the whole time, you can do a thing, if you're good enough, of pushing forward on the left stick and clicking the light attack button at the exact same time, and you do a kick, which kicks their shields down. Alright, with that done, there's a corpse here with some fire bombs, which is kind of useless for a pyromancer. I make my own fire bombs. But what you want to do now is one of two things. You can heal up and get ready for the boss fight, or we could go back and rest at the bonfire to refill our health. If you do that, you're going to reset all the enemies, but it's easy enough to get back to the boss door if you come this way, because then you only have to kill these two enemies, or these three, excuse me, because you got to kill this one right here. So let's do that. Try not to get hit. The shield that the game starts us with does not block 100% of the physical damage you receive. If you look at things here, where it says guard absorption on the right, physical is only 52.0. That means the shield only absorbs 52% of the physical damage it receives. We're going to find a 100% one here quickly enough. We're going to use that for actually a majority of this first playthrough. Alright, so take care of that guy again. Watch out for him. You can roll through attacks as well if you start to get your timing correct. Alright, but we are ready to face off against the boss. So now before I remove the sword that is jammed in his chest, he's going to come to life with a giant halberd with giant swings. So you can do one of two things. You can switch to your pyromancy, start lobbing fire bombs at him, or you can save your fire bombs for what is going to be phase 2, where he becomes extremely susceptible to fire. This is one of the reasons why I think pyromancy is one of the better classes to pick, especially for beginners, because most enemies are weak to fire. It is the most common weakness amongst all of the enemies and the bosses, I think. That might be tied for lightning. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't counted. But what you want to do is kind of stick towards him, and again, be strafing to the right of him after you lock on, and just start lobbing fire bombs at him. Or you can also stay far away, get some range on him, but his halberd is very, very long, and so that's not quite as good. But with that said, let's move the sword he will pop up, and you can lock on him now, but don't attack him until his health bar shows up. Dodge when he jumps. Dodge when he comes at you. You can get a fireball in when he does that. See, I like to just stay far away from him. Get some pot shots in. And when he transforms, we get phase 2. He's going to swipe at you with that giant claw. His attacks are very similar, they just cover half the screen now. Like that. But the good news is he's more susceptible to fire. So the tactic is the same, just stay back. When he jams his mouth into the ground, that's really good because he kind of stays there for a minute. He can swipe his tail like that. But if you just stay back and lob fireballs, you'll get him in no time. With him down, you get a coiled sword. You get your Ember restored, which I'll talk about momentarily. And every boss will spawn a bonfire. And an achievement. So go ahead and rest at the bonfire. Refill my FP. And you get an achievement for becoming a host of embers for the first time, being embered. Okay, so open the door. And while I walk up, I'm going to talk about embered is a thing that increases your maximum health by a certain amount. Switch back over to my axe. And enables online play. So, if you're going to be online, then you definitely want to try to stay embered. That will let you summon friendly players to help you with bosses, or it also lets you get invaded by less than friendly players. So be careful. Now, to the left here is a broken straight sword. And if you come around to the far left, over to the cliff side, there's a little walkway to the left of the stairs here with 2 enemies. Go ahead and take this one out. And take him out. You'll be pushing up against the wall so you don't fall off to get a homeward bone, which you can use to return to bonfires. Those are very helpful. Go back the way you came, and now we can start working our way up the hill. And on the right here is a hollow with his back turned. It's perfect for kicking, so this is a great place to practice doing this motion of clicking forward on the left stick and hitting right bumper at the same time. And you get some free experience for that. And also remember this area, because an item we're going to want is going to appear here much, much later. Head up the stairs. There's some enemies to our left, but I like to come around the outside to get them. Because there's 2 more enemies above them, and they will spring to life if you try to attack these 2. So come over here, take care of this one and this one. And then retreat back down to take care of these 2. Sweet, another fading soul. So with them down, head back this way. Before we head in the arch, though, we're going to do 2 things. First, we're going to come to the left. And then up these stairs, and on the left there's an item, but before you get that, make sure you turn around because you're about to get ambushed. And also make sure you do not go too far up these stairs right in front of me, in can't really see him up there, but there's an NPC that is very difficult to defeat at this early stage. So come here and grab this, which is actually a slightly better shield than the one we're using. It has 55% physical damage absorption and better stability. The stability dictates how much stamina gets lost when you guard. Stamina is the green bar up there, and I forgot to mention that all of your abilities use stamina, and if you run out, then you can't attack or do anything or dodge. And also, if you get hit while attacking or while your stamina is gone, it'll drop your guard. So come up the stairs that the ambush was coming for to get the item that I just got. Continue down this way, and you can drop back down right in front of you to get back to the archway. Before you do, though, turn to the left and keep your shield up, because there's going to be an attack dog right around the corner, and he's going to jump right at you. They like to circle around you and jump, so just hold your shield, wait for them to jump at you. When they hit your shield, you just attack them. Go down to the corner here to get another Ember. And now we can go back and enter Firelink Shrine. This is like the main hub of the world, where certain people will travel to, and acts as the location for leveling up. So let's come down these stairs and let's talk to a few of the people that are here right now. Starting with Hawkwood.
Ah, well, you're not weird.
Who gives you another gesture.
Don't you think? What a sassy talk.
Make sure you exhaust everyone's dialogue as you talk to them.
What a sassy talk.
Keep talking to them until they start to repeat themselves. Then we can talk to this young lady.
Welcome to the bonfire. I tell law to this.
Who we will be talking to level up for the entirety of this game. If you have the option to talk again, make sure you do that to hear everything they have to say. And we'll come back to level up here soon. Then we can come down this giant archway under where we came in. Currently there are only 2 people to worry about here. We have the Shrine Handmaiden, who may look familiar if you played Dark Souls 2. She acts as the main merchant of the place. Right now she doesn't offer much, but we are going to be able to improve her wares as we go down, and we're going to eventually want our torch and this expensive key, but that's going to be down the line.
Ashen ring with is it not? No, is that cool? And so then I Ashen bring me with is it not?
Again, make sure you talk to them. And with her, it's best to sell your souls. You can use them in your inventory, but that goes through an entire animation of you lifting up your hand and crushing the souls, and then takes a little bit. So instead, I like to just sell them with the Shrine Handmaiden, because you get the same amount of souls either way, and it's much quicker, and you can do multiple at a time. So let's go ahead and sell all of our souls. We can also go ahead and sell our firebombs, I think. No, don't sell all of them. Sell all but 1 of your firebombs. We can also, I don't suggest you do this if this is your first time playing again, or at the very least look up what weapons it is you like to use. Try to find something that you know you're going to like. But I happen to know that I'm not going to be using any of these soul transposed weapons, so I like to go ahead and sell this Titanite scale for the 500 souls. Same for these weapons. We're not going to need any weapons outside of the few that I prefer to purchase. So we're not going to need this broken straight sword. Or this caduceus round shield. Now, the shields are a little bit different. I like to keep those around because there are some fights that aren't about physical absorption. You'll get into like a boss fight that just shoots magic at you. And so you want a shield that's better at magic absorption. But the east-west shield is better than the caduceus round shield in every way. So we can go ahead and sell this. Same for armor. I don't like to sell any of the armor because you never know when you want to change up your armor for different resistances and whatnot.
Ashen one.
Okay, with that guy done, or lady, let's talk to this guy.
Well, a newcomer, I am, as I'm your
who you might recognize from the first Dark Souls. Make sure you talk to him, because he explains everything you can do with him. And when you talk to him the second time, he gives you another gesture. Keep talking to him to learn everything that you can do. Because you can reinforce your Estus flask, a lot Estus, so on and so forth. Upgrade weapons, change up weapons. We're not going to do anything with him yet. And there's nobody else to talk to currently in Firelink Shrine. So the first thing you want to do, or actually that's not true, hang on. There's one more person. We need to talk to Lothric. So come up to the left of these thrones here, and if you pass the first one and get up to the second one, you can drop down and come around to find Lothric.
Look, it's this. No stop for the Shrine. No stop for.
Again, talk to everybody until they repeat themselves. That's for questline purposes, and also you get a good bit of the story. But now we can level up. Our first goal is going to be to work towards 18 vigor.
Very well. Then touch take nourish.
Which we should be able to do immediately. Once we get 18 vigor, we're actually going to save up a whopping 12,000 souls for our first weapon that we will be using for the majority of the game. You should be able to get it just before our first boss fight. Or I guess second boss fight. That tutorial boss was the first boss fight, technically. You insert the coiled sword into the middle here to create a major bonfire. And then we can travel to the High Wall of Lothric, which is the first section of the game proper. We have finished the tutorial section. Now we can move on to the real stuff. Move forward. And open up the door. And we arrive proper. Come down the stairs, light the first bonfire. We're going to take a quick detour. Now again, this is a 100% walkthrough. If you're just trying to get the achievements, then I'm going to be doing some things you don't technically need to do. But I find that getting every item on this playthrough does multiple things. One, you can sell a lot of those items for souls to level you up faster to make the game easier in the long run. Two, we're going to kill almost every enemy as we get all of the items. which does the same thing. Gives us more souls to level up faster to make the bosses easier. 3, it really gets ingrained in you a layout of this whole game to make it easier when you do the second and third playthroughs that are going to be required to get all of the achievements. So, with that, do not come down the stairs here. Because there is a crossbow wielder on this ledge right there you can see holding his head, and he'll start sniping you if you get down to this walkway where the 2 dogs are. So instead, come to where this wall's broken and step out and take care of this guy. Ooh, and he dropped a steel soldier helm. Notice the dogs noticed me. See, there he is. That was lucky. So come on down, you have to slowly walk forward to pull the aggro of the dogs. You want to try to do it one at a time. Don't worry about these hollows praying. They are no threat to you. Take care of that dog, and then move forward to this large halberd-wielding hollow. These guys take a lot more damage, so make sure you be careful or use fireballs. There we go. So let's continue down, and you're gonna have to be careful here. When we go up these stairs, there will be several of those praying hollows that do not attack, and 1 crossbow wielder. However, one of the praying hollows will start to writhe and bust forth with the same parasite that affected Iudex Gundyr, the first boss we just took care of. These enemies are called Pus of Man. So what you have to do is, once you get up to about here, start sprinting. You're going to turn right and sprint towards the hollow that grabs his head and starts shaking, and you want to kill him as fast as possible so that he doesn't transform. If he does, you need to back far, far away and try to kill him with fireballs. Luckily, when you hit a Pus of Man with a fireball, they go crazy and just start spasming out, which lets you get in more fireballs. It makes it very easy. And you actually get more souls that way. So if you're feeling daring, you can trigger his transformation and then try to kill him. But you want to be careful. It's that one right there. Then we can kill the crossbow wielder. But that guy gives you way more experience and a Titanite shard and an Ember, making it well worth your time. Now if you don't want to have to deal with all that, again, just run straight up to him and slash at him. I think it takes 2 hits, and you should be able to kill him before he transforms. Don't forget to grab the item on this corpse for a longbow and some arrows. And you can also swipe at the praying hollows that are left over here for some free experience. Now we're going to come back down. And we're going to do the same thing with these hollows. Get some free souls. You can even pull off the free on them. I didn't even mean to do that, it just triggered. Go ahead and rest at the bonfire, because we're not going to be going back there anytime soon. So we don't care if we reset those enemies. Now we're going to continue down this way. A hollow will start to walk up. He is aggressive, so we want to take care of him first. And then there's a hollow coming up the stairs here. You want to rush him because he's going to raise his lantern and start crying, which will awaken these hollows and cause them to attack. So you want to rush at him and kill him as quickly as possible. And then we can turn around and kill these guys for some easy souls. And in fact, if you find yourself having trouble during this section, this is a great place to farm souls in the early game. You can just kill these hollows, and then return to the bonfire up the stairs here, rest, and repeat. There's those. There's one there. There's one up here. We also want to come up this way to get this soul. There's one last one over here in the corner. Now before we go down those stairs to take care of that one hollow that was propped up against the wall, you want to come up these stairs, where there are more praying hollows and another siren. So make sure you rush at the siren and take care of it, or he rouses everybody, because he will animate these two hollows here, along with a bomb thrower up on the top of those stairs in the distance. Take care of them, take care of this one, take care of these two, and now we can climb up these stairs, but be careful because there are two things. One, a hollow sitting along the wall here that will get up, and two, you can almost see it moving. You can see his foot. There's a hollow waiting to ambush you on the right. So just walk forward with your shield up, and you'll get through it. Take care of him, take care of that one. And then we can come up here to get the binoculars. You can use those from your inventory to zoom in your camera, go into first person mode. I never use them, so I will be selling those. But instead of going back down the stairs, come to the left of the dragon, and over here you can actually drop down onto this little rampart, which lets you go into this window to get a secret item, which is gold pine resin, which you can apply to your right hand weapon to make it a lightning weapon for, I want to say it's 30 seconds. Then we can drop down this window, and now we are on the inside of the tower that had that hollow propped up against the wall I told you to avoid. Take care of him. Take care of the one sitting on the ground. Come around to the other side of the table for an item. And you get to sneak up on the hollow that was waiting behind these crates and barrels, waiting to ambush you. Keep your shield up and walk towards him. I'll take a swipe. And you can swipe back. Ooh, and he dropped an iron round shield. Is that better than what I have now? It's better physical. Worse at everything else, but this early in the game, all enemies deal primarily physical damage, so I'm actually going to equip this. If yours did not drop an iron round shield at any time, just continue to use the east-west shield. Come down the ladder, go through this door, turn right for a soul, go over here left, where there is a hollow with a shield. So go up to him, he attacks, awesome. If he doesn't attack, you can try kicking. Watch out for the crossbowmen. They'll prop up here. And don't go too far up, because they will attract the enemies coming down the stairs. Instead, what you want to do is go up these stairs slowly until you trigger the entrance of a big old dragon. Then you want to back down the stairs and you're about to breathe fire on everybody. Although it nets you a good amount of souls in the process. then want to do is come around to the side and wait to see a shadow. Because if you come around to the side, then the dragon will move down this walkway. Back away, and he'll kill everybody there. I got hit in the back. Now you gotta be careful because the ground will stay on fire for a while. Now I'm trying to get that item down there. So we can sprint. Oh boy. If you see the fire coming, just hold your shield up. Kind of down here, don't go up as far as you can because he'll just continuously breathe fire. If you come down a little ways, then he'll stop and give you enough time for the fire to dissipate on the ground. There's a tower underneath his head you might have seen. That's what we're going to make a mad dash for. If we're lucky, we can grab at one or both of the items on the way, but here we go. Definitely grab this one. Now you can see there's an item right in front of us. There's also an item way off in the distance. I don't think we're going to get those just yet. We can come back to them later in the game, but right now I think it's just an ember, or maybe it's a hollow. And then on the back it's a claymore, which is a two-handed sword. If you're feeling daring, you can try to run out and grab this one at least. Fire to die down. I think I'm going to try to go for it. Because what you can do is when you grab it, you can just sprint off to the left. But I want to be full health for this one, for sure. Here we go. First attack is going to hurt. The problem is the fire stuns you. Then you want to run to the left and drop off. Go ahead, don't worry about the last we're about to hit the bonfire. You see the dragon continuously breathing fire, then just keep walking down the stairs until he stops. Alright. Take the stairs down, and we get our first treasure chest, which this game, being the frustrating game that it is actually a mimic. And if you open it, he will bite you, chomp on you, and swallow you whole. So, we're going to get the drop on him by getting the first couple of swings in before he can awaken. Before you do that, though, you want to bust up some of this furniture and debris to give yourself some space to roll around. So I like to just kind of roll through these chairs and tables. If you want, you can get rid of these things too. Sometimes I've gotten caught up on them. So I like to bust some of those as well. Alright, and here we go. It's nice to start off with a heavy swing if you can. Lock on after he gets up and back away, because he always starts with a grab attack. If you stay close to him, then his length actually ends up being a detriment. Because a lot of his attacks will just go right over your head, and you can just swing at him. But when he rears up both of his arms in the air, he's going to try to grab you. And if he grabs you, you will almost certainly die. When he staggers back, you can get a couple of hits in. And once you whittle his health down to 0, he drops a deep battle axe, which is awesome. We're going to be using that for a little bit. Go ahead and equip it. It's much better than the hand axe we started the game with. And if you're ever wondering, you can hit the Y button to switch the status screen, and it gives you the attack rating for your weapons. And notice how when I go over to the Deep Battle Axe, it increases the attack rating of my right weapon 1 to 192. This axe also deals dark damage, which a lot of enemies are weak to, especially this early. With that, climb up the ladder, open up this gate, and immediately on your right is a hollow. Take care of him, and on the other side is another hollow. While you're doing that, a difficult enemy known as a Lothric Knight starts parading down the stairs there. I find it best this early to ignore him. You can just strafe right past him, going on the left side here to find this hollow. And this is soul. Quickly make it to the door here, because the Lothric Knight is going to head back. Quickly turn left as well, because there's an ambush waiting for you. We'll come back to that item. But instead, come out the door in front of you, and up the stairs for our next bonfire. Rest up, and we will continue this next time. Until then, stay safe.